Hey guys, we are going to make croutons today out of French bread, homemade croutons with Parmesan cheese and a little bit of garlic powder and olive oil. We're gonna toast them in the oven at 375. It's preheating for us right now. And they're gonna be awesome. I use them in salads, I use them on French onion soup, and today we're going to make a salad, a Caesar salad, with my homemade, healthier version of a Caesar salad dressing when these come out of the oven, and I'll show you how I do that too. So let's get started on our croutons. First, I like to get a little bit of the crust off. You don't have to be obsessive about it and get all of it, but I just like to get a little bit off, just so they're not too crusty. And I only have I cut my loaf in half because I took 2 pieces out of the middle to make a grilled cheese sandwich for my husband later. So let's get that going. It's not too difficult to use a serrated knife when you're cutting bread or anything like bread, tomatoes, anything soft. But with bread, a serrated knife makes life so much easier. All right, almost got that done. Let me get these little scraps and put them in the sink so I can make room on my cutting board. Okay. And then we're just gonna cut them into about 1-inch little cubes. These are so good. I make them all the time, and I swear homemade croutons make a huge difference in your salads or anything. Okay, and this recipe will be on my website, amandadoesfood.com. Okay, let's get those in the sink. Let's clean off our board just a tad. I always like my board to be nice and clean and fresh and ready to use for me. Okay, so let's get these cut up into cubes. I'm gonna cut, so we have it like this. I'm just gonna cut down the middle lengthwise. And then make 4 larger pieces. And then we'll just cut them in strips like this. About 1-inch thickness, maybe a little bit less than that. It goes really fast, it's worth it. I feel like anything homemade is always just so much better, and it's so worth it. The attention to detail to every part of your dish, especially a dish like salad where it's raw, you know? Attention to detail to every part of your dish really is what sets your dish apart. Sometimes I add oregano on top of these, but I think today we'll just stick with the Parmesan and the garlic powder and the olive oil, salt and pepper. So now I have these pieces, and I'm just gonna cut these in 1-inch cubes. You're really just making 1-inch cubes out of this loaf. Some will be a little bit bigger, some will be, and it can be very rustic. You could even tear these if you want. If you don't want to cut them, just tear them. Because all those little edges, all those uneven edges will get brown and develop their own kind of toasty, crusty flavor, which I really like, and I think the majority of people really like that too. You could also pour some melted butter over these, but I really prefer the olive oil. It's so funny because I can actually smell this bread. I love French bread. You could use any kind of bread you like. You can use a sourdough loaf, ciabatta, anything with some soft interior, so that you don't get too many pieces of crust, which I do like the contrast in texture and flavor of the crust, but I just don't like too much of it. Let me get these on the sheet pan so I can make some room. And we're almost done, and then I'll show you exactly how I kind of dress this and get it into the oven. And then once you put them on the sheet pan and you see that a couple of pieces are too big, just break them up. This is rustic. Everything I do is very kind of rustic, you know? Very home cooking style. I'm not a restaurant chef, I'm a home cook, and it's my passion, it's something I love, and I think it really shows in the food that I cook. That old saying, made with love, I think that shows in my food. Okay, so we've got, let's clean off our cutting board just a little. We got a lot of crumbs over here. Okay, that's good. And let's spread these out. Make sure we don't have any pieces that are too big. And remember, that torn look is, I really like it. And they want to be about the same size, but they don't have to be exactly the same size, because that really creates depth of flavor. Some pieces taste like this, some pieces taste like that, but they're all toasty and delicious. Okay, that looks great. All right, now let's drizzle it with some olive oil. You want to do it pretty liberally so they get nice and toasty. But you know, you don't want to drench them either. So let's give those a little toss, and then we'll dress them up with our Parmesan cheese and garlic powder, and make sure they're in one single layer. Don't have them all piled on top of each other. So you're gonna need a larger sheet pan. All right, that's done. Now let me get my handy dandy microplane. I love my microplane. I use it for everything. I use this on a daily basis. Citrus zest, Parmesan cheese, like anything. Garlic. Sometimes I put fresh garlic in on this. I'll mix it in with the olive oil, but I think the garlic powder is pretty good with, serves its purpose with the croutons. I love Parmesan cheese. I love all cheeses. I do not discriminate against cheese. All right, there we go. We're gonna need just a little bit of kosher salt, but we don't need a lot because the Parmesan cheese is salty. That's good. Let's get some black pepper. I love black pepper, especially with Parmesan cheese. There's something about that combination that I really, really love. And here is our garlic powder. Just a sprinkle. If you don't like garlic, just leave it off. And then I had a crazy idea. I have this everything bagel seasoning. It has garlic, sesame seeds, salt, onion. So I'm gonna put it over just a small section and we'll see how that turns out. You guys can experiment with me. Let's just see. I'm always coming up with these ideas when I'm falling asleep at night. It's like something that I really love to come up with, you know, new recipes and different ideas for things. So this is gonna go into a 375-degree oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. You wanna keep your eye on it. It's bread, you know how bread can burn pretty fast in the oven before you even know it. So I'm gonna take this over to the oven, and then when I take it out, I'll bring you back over to the counter. Hey guys, so our croutons came out of the oven. They were at 375 for about 15 minutes, and halfway through, I gave them a little toss, and I wanna show you what they look like. They're nice and golden brown, and they smell delicious, like toasted bread. And toasted bread smells delicious. So then after they come out of the oven and they're still really warm, I like to add a little more Parmesan cheese. I like my croutons pretty Parmesan-y. All right. And remember we put the everything bagel seasoning on that one section? I'm just gonna try one. They're good. They taste like an everything bagel. They're really good. They're really good. I feel like I prefer these, the more traditional kind. But those are a good way to mix up your salad, especially if you don't have much going on in your salad, or if you have a lot going on in your salad. I think that would work as well. So let's make our salad. Let's assemble our salad. We're gonna make a Caesar salad. And this is my favorite lettuce. This is baby gem lettuce. They're really pretty. They're very tender. The leaves are very tender. And the leaves are pretty big. They look like this. And we're just gonna give those a little chop because they are very big. And we wanna make them easier to eat, more bite size. Just a real rough chop, just to break them down just a little bit. I love these. They're pre-washed, and they're probably my favorite lettuce. I love butter lettuce too. Well, I love all lettuce, honestly, but they all serve their own purpose in their little lettuce life. But I think baby gems are my #1 favorite. Okay, so first we're going to season our lettuce. I always season my lettuce. Even if we're dressing it, I just always season it, salt and pepper. Okay, so now I wanted to show you my homemade Caesar dressing. This is like a healthier version on, healthier take on a Caesar dressing. It's a creamy Caesar dressing, but there's no cream in it. It's made with non-fat Greek yogurt, a teaspoon of, or 2 teaspoons of anchovy paste, lemon, so lemon, anchovy paste, a garlic clove, and then Worcestershire and Dijon mustard. And then I put it in the blender. I put those ingredients in the blender, whiz it up, get it all nice and incorporated. And then I stream in my extra virgin olive oil just to get it emulsified so that it won't, and while the blender's running, so it emulsifies. And then I add a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, grated Parmesan cheese at the end, and just whiz it, like blend it just to mix it for about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. And it's so good. You cannot even tell that there's no mayo, there's no egg in it. It's so good. And don't let the anchovy paste scare you, because anchovy paste is actually really good in a Caesar dressing and other things too. It just gives it a salty kind of umami taste. It doesn't taste fishy at all. And if it really freaks you out, just leave it out. But I promise you, you won't even taste it. So next we're going to grate some Parmesan cheese. I told you I love Parmesan cheese. So we'll grate some Parmesan cheese in here. We're going to add our Caesar dressing, which, let me grab a spoon. And let me grab our tongs. Our tongs are right behind me. Okay, so that's good. We got that. We'll put in our Caesar dressing, a couple tablespoons. It depends on how dressing-ish you like your salad. I prefer not too much dressing, but this is actually for Craig, so I'm going to, he likes his salad very dressed. He really likes this dressing. So I'm gonna get that in there. Toss it all around, make sure it's nice and coated, and I'm actually gonna add a tad more. This dressing is so so good. You know what, if I didn't tell him it was yogurt, he probably wouldn't even know. And it's non-fat yogurt too. Okay. So that's good. Yummy. Now, I love dill in my Caesar salad. It's not a traditional thing that people put in Caesar salad, but I just love it. I think it brings such a different, it really makes your Caesar salad your own. You know, herbs really do that. They brighten everything up. And I think it's so good with the dressing. So we'll get that in there. Just a little more. I don't even know where I came up with dill in a Caesar dressing. In a Caesar salad. Now, to make this a meal, honestly, I have this for lunch like 4 days a week. So, I just love it, obviously. Let's get some croutons in here. Just like a cup of croutons. And I'm actually gonna add a little more dressing just because I feel like it could use a little more with the croutons in there. And we'll just give that a toss. Okay, and I have like a nice pretty platter over here. And we're just gonna finish it off. You could add some, because I have this so much for lunch, I add chicken to it a lot or grilled shrimp. Almost every time I eat it, actually, I add grilled chicken or my poached chicken. On my website, you'll find a recipe for this salad with my poached chicken. Poached chicken, I just cook it in boiling water, seasoned boiling water, a lot of aromatics in there, black peppercorns, and then I just shred it up and I put it in the salad. So here we have our salad, and let me get all the herbs out. Hi, Tucker. Tucker always knows when I'm cooking something. He's always hungry. He's old, but he's mature, but he's always hungry. You're mature, Tucker. Okay, and then we're going to, I always love the way the yellow lemon zest looks. So I like to add some lemon zest on top, and it brightens it up. And there's lemon in the dressing, so you're not adding anything that's not kind of already in there. But I love the little yellow flakes. I always love the contrast of textures and colors. I'm always kind of thinking about that. Okay, and then I'm gonna add just a few more little pieces of dill on top, just so you know it's in there. And it looks really pretty. So we got that. That's gorgeous. Gorgeous. And a little more black pepper. I'm always adding more black pepper, especially on a Caesar with Parmesan cheese in there. And then just a little more Parmesan cheese, just a touch, just so you know it's in there, just like that. And there you have it. A nice, yummy Caesar salad that's literally like easy enough to get together for your lunch, your weekday lunch or dinner. But it's beautiful enough to have like girlfriends over for lunch.